Okay. So we'll first start with Bhagavad Gita. Which shloka did we complete yesterday? Anyone remembers? Hare
13th
Krishna.
floor.
13th shloka, yes. Hari Bol, Prabhuji. 13th shloka. What was the 13th shloka all about? Anyone remembers?
Tata Sangaccha, Deryacha, Vanavanaha, Gomugaha, Takasaiva, Viyahan, Janta, Ta Sabdas, Tumulo, Abhavat.
What does that mean?
Means everywhere in the Kurukshetra war position, the
Hmm.
council, buckles, trumpets, drums, and horns were
Hmm.
all suddenly sounded. They are making by using this council, buckles, trumpets,
Hmm.
drums, and they are ready for declaring war. And the combined sound was tumultuous. Tumultuous means uh, it will make a vibration for the warriors.
Yes, Hari Bol. Thank you so much, Mathumanikam Prabhuji. Yes, you're absolutely right. The, like you said, tumultuous, as in it literally shook the heart of everyone, and it in fact shook the three worlds, right? That is how it's described. So, when does this happen? So, what was the background to all of this? Anyone? We read it in the previous two, three shlokas, right? What was the background? Anyone knows?
Thus, yes, uh, Bhishma Pitama started a council loudly.
Yeah,
After that, this was happening. Yes.
yes, yes. So the Duryodhana kind of declares that everyone should follow the instructions of Bhishma, Pitama Bhishma, and make sure that they give full support to Bhishma. Also stand at their respective position to make sure that Bhishma is protected from all sides. Because he was very sure that only with the support of Bhishma and Dronacharya he can win the battle, and he was always also sure that they will always, they will also fully support only Duryodhana, because even when Draupadi was helpless, during that incident which happened while she was seeking justice, yeah, even during that time they stood quiet, right? So he was very sure that these people are the ones who will be there, and they're very strong. Nobody can win them. That was his confidence. And then Bhishma also, starts blowing the conch shell very loudly, like the roar of a lion, which gave Duryodhana so much joy, followed by which all the other people started blowing their conch shells, drums, everything. And the combined sound was totally tumultuous. Okay, that's where we concluded. So far we've seen what was happening on the side of Kauravas. Right now, from Shloka 14, we are going to see what is happening in the side of Pandavas. Okay, so that is the shift which is going to happen in Shloka 14. So Shloka 14 says, Tata Shveter Yukte Mahati Shyandane Stitau Madhava Pandavas Chaiva Divya Shankau Pradadmatuha. So the translation said by Srila Prabhupada, on the other side, both Lord Krishna and Arjuna, stationed on a great chariot drawn by white horses, sounded their transcendental conch. So the important word here is this transcendental conscience. Okay, so we'll read the purport to understand it. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In contrast with the conch shell blown by Bhishma Deva, the conch shells in the hands of Krishna and Arjuna are described as transcendental. The sounding of the transcendental conch shells indicated that there was no hope of victory for the other side, because Krishna was on the side of the Pandavas. Jayastu Panduputranam Esham Pakshe Janardanaha. Victory is always with persons like the sons of Pandu, because Lord Krishna is associated with them. And whenever and wherever the Lord is present, The goddess of fortune is also there, because the goddess of fortune never lives alone without her husband. Therefore, victory and fortune were awaiting Arjuna, as indicated by the transcendental sound produced by the conch of Vishnu or Lord Krishna. Besides that, the chariot on which both the friends were seated had been donated by Agni, the fire god, to Arjuna. And this indicated that this chariot was capable of conquering all sides wherever it was drawn over the three worlds. Right? So, such a beautiful shloka this is. So, please go through this and come tomorrow. And the meaning, see, it is not just Krishna and Arjuna blowing the conch shell, but the meaning is beautifully explained. They're saying it is transcendental conch shell. And why do they say it is transcendental? What does that indicate? And, it's also related to the shloka of Jayastu Panduputranam Yesham Pakshi Janardana. So victory is always with persons like sons of Pandu. Because why? Not because they are great, but because Lord Krishna is associated with them. Right? So wherever Lord is present, victory is assured. That is one lesson. Second, wherever Lord is present, goddess of fortune, Lakshmi is also there with them because she never leaves her husband. So she represents fortune, right? So victory and fortune both are together. And also they are saying that the chariot in which they are sitting is donated by Agni Deva. So which means it's capable of conquering all sides wherever it was drawn over the three worlds. So that is the beauty of this shloka. So it's a very simple but beautiful shloka. Please go through and come. Tomorrow we'll continue to see what were the other conch shells blown by all the Pandavas side? What were the names of the uh, conch shells? Right from Krishna to Arjuna to others, what were the conch shells they blew? There's a name for all these conch shells as well, which we will see in the upcoming shlokas. Okay. Hare Krishna, please go through and come. Thank you so much, everyone. Now we will move on to our book reading.
Mataji, you are making host me, I will share the screen.
Yeah, Prabhuji. No, today I think I will share, Prabhuji. I'm fine, not an issue.
Okay.
I can share, yeah, not an issue. Today I'm much better. So yeah, yesterday I was little drowsy with tablets. Today I'm better. Yeah. So we are reading which book now? What's the name of the book?
The science of the spiritual realization.
Science of, what is the name of
Self,
the book?
science of self-realization.
Yes,
Self-realization.
Haribol. Science of self-realization. It's for us to realize who we are. That is why Srila Prabhupada has given this wonderful book explaining the science behind that. Okay, so we've completed 2 chapters and we are in third chapter now. What is the name of the first chapter?
Learning the science of the soul.
Yeah, Haribol. And what's the name of the second chapter?
Choosing a spiritual master.
Choosing the spiritual master. How to choose the right spiritual master, right? That is a very important chapter for everyone to know so that they don't fall into any of those fake concepts. Yeah, and then we started chapter 3 yesterday. What's the name of chapter 3?
Looking at the cultural background.
Haribol, looking at the cultural background. Yes. So, okay. So, what did we read in chapter 3 so far? Who would like to summarize quickly?
As the Shankaracharya, how he guided us to
Hmm.
pray the Lord Govinda, and
Hmm.
even he was the Shiva Swarupa. That
Hmm.
also he is guided to pray the God, Lord Govinda. That is the one
Hmm.
thing. And another one is contradictory statement between Chayef style and who was given interview to the magazine, and the letter exchange between the Srila Prabhupada and JF style, and how Srila Prabhupada making clarity to the JF style, the professor.
Hmm. Very nice, Prabhuji. Yeah. Anyone else would like to add anything? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Shankaracharya told in at his last work, he told Bhaj Govindam, Govindam, Bhaj Murumate. So,
Yeah. Haribol. Yeah. So what does that mean, Mataji?
he said that Krishna is he is the God, and we can par this Maya by only surrendering to the lotus feet of the Krishna.
Haribol. So
Is
beautiful. Very nice. Yes. Ekamar Prabhuji, you wanted to add anything? Hare Krishna.
Bhaja Govindam, because this grammar will not help you in any way.
Yeah. Not reading the scriptures or grammar will not help in the long run, right? That is what it's a beautiful song, Bhaja Govindam, right? How many of you have heard that Bhaja Govindam?
I heard from M.S. Subbalakshmi.
Yes, Hari was a very famous one. Very nice. How about the others?
All
Have
people
you heard
know
it?
Mataji because Rajaji written that one.
Yeah. So it's very famous.
Rajaji's famous song.
Yeah. In the
It
north, I'm not sure.
tells us
Pushpa
about
Mataji, are you aware, Mataji, this song?
it all,
Mother, a few verse Punarapi Janam, Punarapi Marinam, Punarapi Janini, Jatre Sainam, E
Yeah.
Sansare, Bautustare, Kripya Pare, Pahi Morare, Bhaji
Hari.
Govindam, Bhaji Govindam, Govindam, Bhaji Murnamate. Only this till this Mataji.
Oh, very nice, Mataji. Hari. So beautifully said.
it tells
Very
about
nice,
birth
Mataji.
and death.
Yes, Prabhuji?
It tells about birth and death.
Yeah. Punarabi Jananam, Punarabi Maranam, right? Repeated birth and death. Again and again. That's what it says. But still, we again lose track. We don't go back to Krishna conscious. We kind of refrain from, chanting or doing or practicing our Krishna consciousness. We refrain
Mataji
from that.
make me host because internet problem is there.
It's not, oh, is it Prabhuji? Okay, one second. Is the screen not clear? Okay, one second.
Visible.
Okay, I think Muthumanikam Prabhuji got disconnected. Yeah. Okay. If there's any issue, let me know. I think he had a network issue. Okay. So that's where we concluded, like he rightly said. So the conversation with J.F. Stall, professor of philosophy and at UC Berkeley. With him, the Srila Prabhupada was having a conversation through letters at Los Angeles. So the exchange between Srila Prabhupada and Dr. Stall is what we were reading. So let's go back to where we finished. Yeah, I think, yeah, Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada wrote a letter to Dr. Stall, and that's where we stopped. Now, Dr. Stall is replying back to Srila Prabhupada. That's where we have to start. Okay, so we will now start our class. Yeah, Muthumanikam Prabhuji got it. Pushpa Mataji, would you like to start? Hare Krishna?
Hare Krishna Mataji, after 10 minutes.
Okay, Mataji, no problem. Yeah. Okay, so then Ekambar Prabhuji, would you like to start? Hare Krishna?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah.
February 8, 1970, Swami Swami A.C. Bhaktivedanta, dear Swamiji, thank you very much for your kindness in sending me your long and interesting letter of January 30, together with the last issue of Back to Garden. So far, I have had a few discussions with members of your society here, but they were not entirely satisfactory from your point of view. But now I have your much more authoritative letter whereby this discussion moves to higher level. and yet I am afraid you have not convinced me that all the scriptures you quote prescribe only chanting of the name of Krishna. Let me refer only to the most important ones. In the Bhagavad Gita 9.14, Kirtanayata need not mean chanting the name of Krishna. It may mean glorifying, chanting, reciting, talking, and refer to songs, hymns, descriptions, or conversations. The commentators take it that way. Shankara in his commentary merely repeats the word, but Anandagiri in his Vyakya classes Kirtanayas, Vedanta Shravanam Pranama Japascha, listening to the Vedanta, and muttering Om, that the Vedic Om is Krishna, is said in the Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna is also identified with many other things, and which is Smriti, but not in the Vedas, which are Shruti. Another commentator, Hanuman, in his Paishaka Bhashya, says that Kirtanayanta merely means Basamanaha, talking about. More important, I think, than the precise meaning of this word is that the entire verse does not require that everyone always engage in Kirtana, but merely states that some great source to do so. This is obvious from the next verse, which states that others engage in nana yajnana yajanamam, worshipping me with the worship of knowledge. The Bhagavad Gita is broad-minded and tolerant of a variety of religious approaches, although it also stresses one aspect of above all others, that is sarva pala tyaga. Shall I continue, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji, one more paragraph.
Finally, in the last sutra of the Vedanta Sutra, Avrata Sabda refers to the scripture or to the revelation of the Vedas, as is clear from the context and from the commentators. Shankara quotes a number of texts ending with iti adi sabdeyaya. According to these sabdas, to support this, that is, to support the statement that according to the scripture there is no written. He also refers to sabda in this sutra by saying mantra
Mantrata vadati.
mantrartha vadadi, mantras, descriptions, etc. Vachaspati Mishra in the Bhamarti supports this and clarified it further by adding that a contrary view is Shruti Smriti Virodhaha, in conflict with the Smriti and the Smriti. Hare Krishna. Thanking you once again for your kind attention. Yours sincerely, J.F. Stahl.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Dhanvat pranams. Thank you so much. Very nice. So now, Ravi Prabhuji, would you like to continue? Hare Krishna.
Hello, Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
February 15, 1970. J.F. Stahl, Professor of Philosophy and of South Asian Languages. My dear Dr. Stahl, I am very glad to receive your letter dated Sunday, February 8, 1970. I am very much pleased also to note the contents. Regarding convincing you that all scriptures prescribe chanting of the name of Krishna, I can simply present the authority of Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya recommended Kirtaniya Sadahari. Hari Krishna is constantly be praised. Shikshashtaka 3. Similarly, Madhvacharya quotes Vede Ramayane Chaiva Hari Sarvatra Giyate. Hari is sung about everywhere in the Vedas and Ramayana. Similarly, in the Bhagavad Gita 15.15, the Lord says, Vedaisya sarvam ahameva vedya. By all the Vedas, I am to be known. In this way, we find all the scriptures aiming at the Supreme Person. In the Rig Veda 1.22.20, the mantra is Om Tad Vishnu Parama Om Tad Vishnu Paramapadam Sada Pashyanti Suryaha. The demigods are always looking to that supreme abode of Vishnu. The whole Vedic process, therefore, is to understand Lord Vishnu, and any scripture is directly or indirectly chanting the glories of the Supreme Lord Vishnu. Scroll up. Regarding the Bhagavad Gita, verse 9.14, Kirtayantaha certainly means glorifying, chanting, reciting, and talking, as you have said, but glorifying, chanting, or reciting about whom? It is certainly Krishna. The word used in this connection is Mam, me. Therefore, we do not disagree when a person glorifies Krishna, as Sukadeva did in the Srimad Bhagavatam. This is also Kirtana. The highest among all Vedic literatures is the proper place for such glorification of the Supreme Lord Krishna, and this is to be well understood from the verse Nigama kalpataror galitam phalam sukhamukad amrita dravya samyutam पिबत भागवतं रसमालयं मुहुरहो रसिक भुवि भावुकः. O expert and thoughtful men, relish Srimad Bhagavatam, the mature fruit of the desire tree of Vedic literature. It emanated from the lips of Sri Sukadeva Goswami. Therefore, this fruit has become even more tasteful. Although its nectarian juice was already relishable for all, including liberated souls, Srimad Bhagavatam 1.1.3. It is said that Maharaja Parikshit attained salvation simply by hearing, and similarly Sukadeva Goswami attained salvation simply by chanting. In our devotional service, there are 9 different methods for achieving the same goal, love of Godhead, and the first process is hearing. This hearing process is called Shruti. The next process is chanting. The chanting process is Smriti. We accept both Shruti and Smriti simultaneously. We consider Shruti the mother and Smriti the sister, because a child hears from the mother and then again learns from the sister by description. Shruti and Smriti are two parallel lines. Srila Rupa Goswami therefore says, Shruti Smriti Puranadi Pancha Vidim Vina Aikantiki Harer Bhaktir Utpataya Kalpate. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.2.101. This is without reference to Shruti, Smriti, Puranas, and Pancharatras. Unadulterated devotional service is never achieved. Therefore, anyone who shows a devotional ecstasy without reference to the Shastras, Vedic scriptures, simply creates disturbances. On the other hand, if we simply stick to the Shruti, then we become Vedavada Rataha, who are not very much appreciated in the Bhagavad Gita. Therefore, Bhagavad Gita, although Smriti, is the essence of all Vedic scriptures. Sarvopanishado Gavaha. It is just like a cow that is delivering the milk, or the essence of all the Vedas and Upanishads, and all the Acharyas, including Shankaracharya, accept the Bhagavad Gita as such. Therefore, you cannot deny the authority of Bhagavad Gita because it is Smriti. That view is Shruti Smriti Virodha, in conflict with the Smriti and the Shruti, as we have correctly said. Regarding Anandagiri's quotation that Kirtana means Vedanta Shravanam Pranava Japasya, listening to the Vedanta and muttering Om. The knower of Vedanta is Krishna, and he is the compiler of Vedanta. He is Vedavid and Vedanta Krit. So, where there is a greater opportunity for Vedanta Shravana, Vedanta Shravana than to hear it from Krishna. Regarding the next verse, in which it is mentioned that Jnana Yagnena Yajato Mam, the object of worship is Krishna, as indicated by Mam, me. The process is described in the Ishopanishad Mantra 11. Vidya cha vidyamacha yas tadvedobhayam saha avidyayam mrityum tetva vidyayam mritam ashnute. Only one who can learn the process of nescience and that of transcendental knowledge side by side can transcend the influence of repeated birth and death and enjoy the full blessings of immortality. The culture of Vidya or transcendental knowledge is essential for the human being. Otherwise, the culture of Avidya or nescience binds him to conditioned existence on the material platform. Materialistic existence means the pursuit of pursuit or culture of sense gratification, and this kind of knowledge of sense gratification, avidya, means advancement of repeated birth and death. Those who are absorbed in such knowledge cannot learn any lesson from the laws of nature, and they do the same things over repeatedly. Being enamored of the beauty of illusory things, Vidya or factual knowledge, on the other hand, means to know thoroughly the process of nascent activities while at the same time culturing transcendental science and thereby undeviatingly following the path of liberation. Liberation is the enjoyment of the full blessings of immortality. This immortality is enjoyed in the eternal kingdom of God. Sabhyuti Amrutam Ashnute. The region of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and is the result obtained by worshipping the Supreme Lord, the cause of all causes, Sambhavat. So, in this way, real knowledge, Vidya, means to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, that is Jnana Yajnana, the worship of knowledge. This Jnana Yajnana, Yajato Mam, is the perfection of knowledge, as stated in the Bhagavad Gita 7.19. बहुनां जन्मनामन्ते ज्ञानवान् मां प्रपद्यते वासुदेवा सर्वमिति समाहात्मा सुदुर्लभः. After many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, Krishna, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. If one has not yet come to this conclusion of knowledge and simply indulges in dry speculation without Krishna, then his hard speculative labor is something like beating empty husks of grain. The unhulled rice and the empty husk of rice look very much the same. One who knows how to get the grain out of the unhulled rice is wise, but one who beats on the empty husk, thinking to get some result, is simply wasting his labor uselessly. Similarly, if one studies the Vedas without finding the goal of the Vedas, Krishna, he simply wasted his valuable time. So, so to cultivate knowledge for worshipping Krishna culminates after many, many births and deaths when one actually becomes wise. When one becomes wise in this way, he surrenders to Krishna, recognizing him at last to be the cause of all causes and all that is. The sort of great soul is very rare. So, those who have surrendered to Krishna, life and soul are rare. Sudurlabha Mahatmas. They are not ordinary Mahatmas.
Hare Krishna,
By the grace of
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Thank you so
Hare
much, Prabhuji. Done with the names. Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Yeah. Muthumanikam Prabhuji, would you like to continue next? Hare Krishna.
Hey Krishna Mother. By the grace of Lord Chaitanya, the highest perfectional status of life is being distributed very freely. The effect is also very encouraging. Otherwise, how are boys and girls without any background or very culture quickly acquiring the post of rare Mahatma simply by vibrating this transcendental sound, Hare Krishna. And simply on the basis of this chanting, the majority of them, those who are very sincere, are steady in devotional service and are not falling down in the four principles of material sinful life, namely meat eating, illicit sex connections, taking of intoxicants, including coffee, tea, and tobacco and gambling. And that is the last sutras of the Vedanta Sutra. That is Anavirdi Shabda. By sound vibration, one becomes liberated. One has to learn by the result. Palena, palena parishyati. Our students are ordered to act like this. And they are not falling down. That they are remaining on the platform of pure spiritual life without hangering to culture the above principles of avidya or sense gratification. Is the test of their proper understanding of the Vedas. They do not come back to the material platform because they are relishing the nectarian fruit of love of God. Sarva Baladhyaha, renunciation of all the fruits of one's work, is explained in the Bhagavad Gita by the Lord Himself in the words Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mam Yegam Saranam Viraja. Give up everything and simply surrender unto me, Krishna. The Hare Krishna mantras means, O Supreme Energy of Krishna and O Lord Krishna, please engage me in your eternal service. So we have given up everything and are simply engaged in the service of the Lord. What Krishna orders us to do is our only engagement. We have given up all resultant actions of karma, jnana, and yoga, and that is the stage of pure devotional service. Bhakti Uttama. Yours sincerely, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, February 25, 1970. Swami A.C. Bhaktivedanta, Founder Acharya, International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Dear Swamiji, thank you very much for your very interesting letter of February 15, 1970 with enclosure. I am afraid that whenever you quote a passage purporting to show that only the chanting of the name Krishna is required, I can quote another one which requires something else, adding यदि श्लोको अभि प्रमाणम अयम अभि श्लोको प्रमाणम भवितम भवितुम अर्हति. If mere verses of authoritative, the verse also ought to be regarded as authoritative, and there may be no end of this in the foreseeable future, as Patanjali also says, Mohan hi sabdasya प्रयोग विषयः. For vast is the domain for the use of words. Yours very sincerely, J.F. Star. 3764 Watts Shaker Avenue, Los Angeles, California, 90034, April 24, 1970. Dear Dr. Stahl, I beg to thank you very much for your kind letter dated February 25, 1970. I am sorry that I could not reply to your letter earlier because I was little busy in a matter of purchasing a new church estate at the above address. We have secured a very nice place for a separate temple, lecture room, my quarters, and the devotees' residential quarters, all together in a nice place with all the modern amenities. I beg to request you to visit this place at your convenience, and if you kindly let me know a day before, my students will be very glad to receive you properly. Regarding our correspondence, actually this quotation and counter quotation cannot solve the problem. In a court, both the land lawyers quote from the law books, and that is not the solution to the case. The determination of the case is the judgment of the preceding judge. So, argument cannot bring us to a conclusion. The scriptural quotations are sometimes contradictory, and every philosopher has a different opinion because without putting forward a different thesis, no one can become famous philosopher. It is therefore difficult to arrive at the right conclusion. The conclusion is, as above mentioned, to accept the judgment of authority. We follow the authority of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is not different from Krishna in his version. According to Vedic scriptures, is that in this age, this chanting is the only solution for all problems of life, and that is actually being shown in practical experience.
Hare Krishna,
Recently,
Prabhuji. Dhanvat pranams. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Pushpa Mataji, would you like to continue now? Hare Krishna.
Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Dhanvat pranams.
Uh, Mataji, from recently, na?
Recently, yes, Mataji, from recently.
Recently, there was a big procession of our student in Berkeley on the Advent Day of Lord Chaitanya, and the public has remarked as follows: this crowd of men is like others who assemble to break windows and create havoc. This is also confirmed by the police in the following words: members of the Krishna consciousness movement cooperated fully with the police, and their effort to maintain peaceful order throughout the parade was so successfully that only minimal police involvement was required. Similarly, in Detroit, there was a big peace march, and our men were appreciated as angels in the ground. So this Krishna conscious movement is actually needed at the present moment at the panacea of all kinds of problem in human society. Other quotation will not act very appreciably at this time. In a drugstore, there may be many medicines and all may be genuine, but what is required and that an experienced physician prescribe medicine for a particular patient. We cannot say in this case this is also medicine and that is also medicine. No, the medicine which is effective for a particular person is the medicine for him. Phalela परित्ययते. Yours sincerely, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. Final note by the Srila Prabhupada. In a court of justice, two lawyers put forward their respective relevant argument taken from the authorized law book to decide a point. But it is up to the judge to decide the case in favor of one of the litigant. When the opposing lawyer put forward their argument, both of them are legal and bona fide, but the judgment is given to which argument is applicable to the particular case. Lord Chaitanya gives his judgment on the authority of Shastras that the chanting of the holy name of the Lord is the only means to elevate one of the transcendental platform, and actually we can see it effective. Each and every one of our students who has seriously taken to this process may be examined individually, and any impartial judge will find it easy to see that they have advanced in their transcendental realization further than any philosopher, religious, yogis, karmis, etc. We have to accept everything favorable to the circumstances. A rejection of the other method in a particular circumstance does not mean that the rejected one are not bona fide. But for the time being, taking into consideration the age, time, and object, methods are sometimes rejected even though bona fide. We have to rest everything by its practical result. By such a test in this age, the constant chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamant undoubtedly proves very effective. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Very nice.
Hare Krishna
Okay.
Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Dhanvat pranams. Padma Mataji, would you like to read next? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Padma Mataji. You are on mute,
Yes,
Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Sometimes a Hindu cult or divine culture, sometimes Indians, both inside and outside of India, think that we are preaching the Hindu religion, but actually we are not. People should not think that we are preaching a sectarian religion. No, we are simply preaching how to love God. We are giving a spiritual culture that can solve all the problems of life and therefore it is being accepted all over the world. There is a misconception that the Krishna consciousness movement represents the Hindu religion. In fact, however, Krishna consciousness is in no way a faith or religion that seeks to defeat other faiths or religions. Rather, it is an essential cultural movement for the entire human society and does not consider any particular sectarian faith. This cultural movement is especially meant to educate people in how they can love God. Sometimes Indians, both inside and outside of India, think that we can think that we are preaching the Hindu religion, but actually we are not. One will not find the word Hindu in the Bhagavad Gita. Indeed, there is no such word as Hindu in the entire Vedic literature. This word has been introduced by the Muslims from provinces next to India, such as Afghanistan, Balochistan, and Persia. There is a river called Sindhu bordering the northwestern provinces of India, and since the Muslims there could not pronounce Sindhu properly, they instead called the river Hindu, and the inhabitants of this tract of land they call Hindus. In India, according to the Vedic language, the Europeans are called Mlechas or Yavanas. Similarly, Hindu is a name given by the Muslims. India's actual culture is described in the Bhagavad Gita, where it is stated that according to the different qualities or modes of nature, there are different types of men who are generally classified into four social orders and four spiritual orders. This system of social and spiritual division is known as Varnashrama Dharma. The four Varnas or social orders are Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. The four ashramas or spiritual orders are Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasa. Vanaprastha ashram system is described in the Vedic scriptures known as the Puranas. The goal of this institution of Vedic culture is to educate every man for advancement in knowledge of Krishna or God. That is the entire Vedic program. When Lord Chaitanya talked with the great devotee Ramananda Raya, the Lord asked him, "What is the basic principle of life?" Ramananda Raya answered that human civilization begins when Varnashrama Dharma is accepted. Before coming to the standard of Varnashrama Dharma, there is no question of human civilization. Therefore, the Krishna consciousness movement is trying to establish the right system of human civilization, which is known as Krishna consciousness or Devi Varnashrama, divine culture. In India, the Varnashrama system has now been taken in a perverted way, and thus a man born in the family of a Brahmana, the highest social order, claims that he should be accepted as a Brahmana. But this claim is not accepted by the Shastra, scripture. One's forefather may have been a Brahmana according to Gotra or the family hereditary order. But real Varnashrama Dharma is based on the factual quality one has attained regardless of birth or heredity. Therefore, we are not preaching the present day system of the Hindus, especially those who are under the influence of Shankaracharya. For Shankaracharya taught that the absolute truth is impersonal, and thus he indirectly denied the existence of God. Shankaracharya's mission was special. He appeared in order to re-establish the Vedic influence after the influence of Buddhism. Because Buddhism was patronized by Emperor Ashok 2600 years ago, the Buddhist religion practically pervaded all of India. According to the Vedic literature, Buddha was an incarnation of Krishna who had a special power and who appeared for a special purpose. His system of thought or faith was accepted widely, but Buddha rejected the authority of the Vedas. While Buddhism was spreading, the Vedic culture was stopped both in India and in other places. Therefore, since Shankaracharya's only aim was to drive away Buddha's system of philosophy, he introduced a system called Mayavada. Strictly speaking, uh, Mayavada philosophy is atheism, for it is a process in which one imagines that there is God. This Mayavada system of philosophy has been existing since time immemorial. The present Indian system of religion or culture is based on the Mayavada philosophy of Shankaracharya, which is a compromise with Buddhist philosophy. According to Mayavada philosophy, there actually is no God. Or if God exists, he is impersonal and all pervading and can therefore be imagined in any form. This conclusion is not in accord with the Vedic literature. That literature names many demigods who are worshipped for different purposes, but in every case, the Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead Vishnu, is accepted as a supreme controller. This is real Vedic culture. The philosophy of Krishna consciousness does not deny the existence of God and the demigods, but Mayavada philosophy denies both. It maintains that neither the demigods nor God exist. For the Mayavadis, ultimately all is zero. They may say that one may imagine any authority, whether Vishnu, Durga, Lord Shiva, or the sun god, because these are the demigods generally worshipped in society. But the Mayavada philosophy does not, in fact, accept the existence of any of them. The Mayavadis say that because one cannot concentrate one's mind on the impersonal Brahman, one may imagine any of these forms. This is a new system called Panchopasana. It was introduced by Shankaracharya, but the Bhagavad Gita does not teach any such doctrines and therefore they are not authoritative. The Bhagavad Gita accepts the existence of the demigods. The demigods are worshipped in the Vedas, and one cannot deny their existence, but they are not to be understood or worshipped according to the way of Shankaracharya. The worship of demigods is rejected in Bhagavad Gita. The Gita 7.20 clearly states, कामस्तैस्तहृतज्ञानः प्रपद्यन्ते न्यदेवताः तं तं नियतमम् आस्थाय प्रकृत्या नियता स्वया. Those whose minds are distorted by material desires surrender unto demigods and follow the particular rules and regulations of worship according to their own natures. Furthermore, in the Bhagavad Gita 2.44, Lord Krishna states, भोगैश्वर्यप्रसक्तानां तावपहृतचेतसां व्यवसायात्मिका बुद्धिः समाधौ न विधीयते. In the minds of those who are too attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence and who are bewildered by such things, the resolute determination for devotional service does not take place. Those who are pursuing the various demigods have been described as Kritagnyana, which means those who have lost their sense. That is also further explained in Bhagavad Gita 7.23. अन्तवत्तु फलं तेषां तद्भवत्यल्पमेधसां देवान् देवयजो यान्ति मद्भक्ता यान्ति मामपि. Men of small intelligence worship the demigods, and their fruits are limited and temporary. Those who worship the demigods go to the planet of the demigods. But my devotees reach my supreme abode. The rewards given by the demigods are temporary, because any material facility must act in connection with the temporary body. Whatever material facilities one gets, whether by modern scientific methods or by deriving benedictions from the demigods, will be finished with the body. But spiritual advancement will never be finished. People should not think that we are preaching a sectarian religion. No. We are simply preaching how to love God. There are many theories about the existence of God. The atheist, for example, will never believe in God. Atheists like Professor Jacques Monod, who won the Nobel Prize, declare that everything is chance, a theory already put forward long ago by atheistic philosophers of India, such as Charvaka. Then other philosophies such as Karma and Mimamsa philosophy accept that if one goes on doing his work nicely and honestly, automatically the result will come without need for one to refer to God. For evidence, the proponents of such theories cite the argument that if one is diseased with an infection and takes medicine to counteract it, the disease will be neutralized. But our argument in this connection is that even if one gives a man the best medicine, he still may die. The results are not always predictable. Therefore, there is a higher authority, Daiva Netrena, a supreme director. Otherwise, how is it that the son of a rich and pious man becomes a hippie in the street, or that a man who works very hard and becomes rich is told by his doctor, now you may not eat any food but only barley water. The Karma Mimamsa theory holds that the world is going on without the supreme direction of God. Such philosophies say that everything takes place by lust, kama haitukam. By lust, a man becomes attracted to a woman, and by chance, there is sex, and the woman becomes pregnant. There is actually no plan to make the woman pregnant, but by a natural sequence, when a man and woman unite, the result is produced. The atheistic theory, which is described in the 16th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita as asuric or demoniac, is that actually everything is going on in this way because of chance and resulting from natural attraction. This demoniac theory supports the idea that if one wants to avoid children, he may use a contraceptive method. Actually, however, there is a great plan for everything, the Vedic plan. The Vedic literature gives directions regarding how men and women should unite, how they should beget children, and what the purpose of sex life is. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that sex life sanctioned by the Vedic order, or sex life under the direction of the Vedic rules and regulations, is bona fide and is acceptable to him. But chance sex life is not acceptable. If by chance one is sexually attracted, Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. The screen went, Mataji. One minute, I'm just. Yeah,
Screen.
one second. The net got disconnected once.
Mataji buried.
No, Prabhuji, actually the net got disconnected. So my screen sharing stopped. 1 minute, Prabhuji. I'm connecting back. Yeah, now it has come. 1 second. Visible now, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji, it's starting to. Krishna says in
Yeah.
the Bhagavad Gita that life sanctioned by the Vedic order or sex life under the direction of Vedic rules and regulations is bona fide and is acceptable to him. But chance sex life is not acceptable. If by chance one is sexually attracted and there are children, they are called Varna Sankara, unwanted population. That is the way of the lower animals. It is not acceptable for humans. For humans, there is a plan. We cannot accept the theory that there is no plan for human life or that everything is born of chance and material necessity. Shankaracharya's theory that there is no God and that no one can go with his work and imagine God in any form just to keep peace and tranquility in society is also more or less based on this idea of chance and necessity. Our way, however, which is completely different, is based on authority. It is this divine Varnashrama dharma that Krishna recommends, not the caste system as it is understood today. This modern caste system is now condemned in India also, and it should be condemned. For the classification of different types of men according to birth is not the Vedic or divine caste system. There are many classes of men in society. Some men are engineers, some are medical practitioners, some are chemists, tradesmen, businessmen, and so on. These varieties of classes are not to be determined by birth, however, but by quality. No such thing as a caste by birth system is sanctioned by the Vedic literature, nor do we accept it. We have nothing to do with the caste system, which is also at present being rejected by the public in India. Rather, we give everyone the chance to become a Brahmana and thus attain the highest status of life. Because at the present moment, there is a scarcity of Brahmanas or spiritual guides and Kshatriyas, administrative men. And because the entire world is being ruled by Shudras or men of the manual laborer class, there are many discrepancies in society. It is to mitigate all these discrepancies that we have taken to this Krishna consciousness movement. If the Brahmana class is actually re-established, the other orders of social well-being will automatically follow. Just as when the brain is perfectly in order, the other parts of the body, such as the arms, the belly, and the legs, all act very nicely. The ultimate goal of this movement is to educate people in how to love God. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu approves the conclusion that the highest perfection of human life is to learn how to love God. The Krishna consciousness movement has nothing to do with the Hindu religion or any system of religion. No Christian gentleman will be interested in changing his faith from Christian to Hindu. Similarly, no Hindu gentleman of culture will be ready to change to the Christian faith. Such changing is for men who have no particular social status. But everyone will be interested in understanding the philosophy and science of God and taking it seriously. One should clearly understand that the Krishna consciousness movement is not preaching the so called Hindu religion. We are giving a spiritual culture that can solve all the problems of life, and therefore it is being accepted all over the world. Thank you so much.
Haribol.
Hare
Haribol
Krishna.
Mataji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranams.
Dandavat pranams, Mataji.
Yeah, thank you. So beautiful. So with this, we've completed our chapter 3 today. I know we've extended by 10 minutes, but still, thank you so much all for joining and staying till the end. So it's
Okay,
such a beautiful chapter, right? We've got
yeah,
clarity about our culture,
yeah.
about Hindu religion and the base of our scriptures. That is beautifully explained. So we will conclude with this today. Tomorrow we will start our next chapter. Next chapter is going to be even more interesting. Chapter 4 is understanding Krishna and Christ. Okay, so there is about Christianity and Krishna. What is the link, right? So that's a very beautiful, very, very interesting chapter. So tomorrow we will read this. Okay? Thank you so much, everyone. Dandavat pranam, Hare Krishna. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnavanda ki jai, Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna, everyone. Dandavat pranams.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.